So imagine this. The year is 2018, you're a disillusioned teenager sitting around listening to the dystopian ambience of 2814's Birth of a New Day album, laminating the tyrannical fist of late-stage capitalism in your own pathetic existence. Suddenly, a thought occurs to you. Vaporwave video game! That's the answer, that's what I need in my life right now, a vaporwave video game! Yes! Broken Reality is an exploratory, non-violent RPG set in a futuristic internet dreamscape within the servers of a company known as Supercorp Natum. Now, as I stated before, and as you probably see from the gameplay footage, the developers over at Dynamic Media Triad have taken a fair amount of influence from vaporwave music, aesthetics, and themes. This fact is evident even just from listening to the game's OST, which kicks ass, by the way. It features music from all kinds of genres: chillwave, synthwave, faux utopia, hypergonic drift, mallsoft, vapor trap, future funk, fucking chiptune. Music comes from a handful of artists, including Dynamic Media Triad's Raul Felix, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, and a couple of household names within the vaporwave community: Death's Dynamic Shroud and Catsup Corp. For those of you who are not in the vaporwave scene, that probably means nothing to you because you're lame and stupid. No, you cannot sit at my lunch table. Me and all the other vaporwave stands are busily fondling our cassette collections. The game's settings are made up of low polygon and pixelated graphics with scenery meant to replicate the aesthetics of different vaporwave subgenres and cultures. The game utilizes the Greek and Japanese influenced styles of classic vaporwave, the dark dystopian cityscape of ambient albums such as 2814's Birth of a New Day, and even a level that seems to be applying the look of seat punk and ocean grunge aesthetics. Like, what the hell? I thought I was the only one who remembered that ocean grunge was, like, a thing at one point. The scenery is also supposed to support the story. Natum servers have been abandoned by the moderators. Maintenance has halted entirely. All but a few users have abandoned this place in hopes for greener pastures elsewhere. Those who remain are either entirely engrossed with their phones, obsessed with obtaining likes, or just trying to scam people. The landscapes and structures around the player reflect this. Textures are broken, there are obnoxious spam ads everywhere. It just screams of the kind of degradation that can only be seen on long-dead social media platforms and internet chat forums. The gameplay is relatively simple. The first stage of the game involves the character going through a few quests and challenges in order to obtain a handful of tools they'll use throughout the rest of the game. The liker is a hand and a thumbs up position that is used to interact with the environment. Like advertisements with it to acquire likes. Punch levers and buttons. Cram it in the faces of strangers to force them to talk to you, etc. The katana is used to slice and dice malware and viruses that get in the way. The credit card allows the players to interact with ATMs, which gets you likes. The player can also buy things to gain likes. If you buy quickly and in the right order, you can gain bonus likes. The hyperlinker is a rainbow cursor that the player can use to teleport to these color squares. It's actually pretty fun once you get good at it. The camera lets the player take pictures. Its main purpose is for picking up these little camera icons, which gives the player likes, but it's also important for completing quests as well. The bookmarker lets the player drop a marker that they can return to later. This is a nice feature, but I wish the button to put down a new marker and teleporting to the last marker weren't the same button. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to put down a new marker just to get ass rammed into some place in the middle of buttfuck nowhere where you were 20 minutes ago. Who thought this was a good idea? Who are they and where are they so I can find them and beat them up in a parking lot? In Minecraft. Later in the game, the player gains some additional functionality and upgrades to their equipment, but for the most part, these tools are what the player have to work with for the rest of the game, which mainly consists of platforming, problem solving, and exploration. So what about the story? Well, this is where things get a little bit complicated. On the surface, the player is simply another user of Natum trying to accumulate as many likes as possible so they can go up in rank and progress to different areas within the Natum servers. However, certain bits of dialogue from various NPCs speak of another underlying story regarding the creators and owners of Natum, but we never get the full story regarding this. I suppose it's all up to interpretation and those who are good at piecing together incomplete stories. That's not me. So I'm sorry if you came here expecting a full analysis of the story. I'm just not good at that kind of thing. The entire game seems to revolve around consumerism and vanity. There's a story going on around the character, a story where lives are at stake, and the very existence of their environment is at stake. But none of it matters to the player. It's just about accumulating likes and money. But what for? By and large, the game is pretty awesome in my opinion. But I do have a couple of gripes about it. First and foremost is the annoying ass mechanic involving the bookmark.
God damn it.
Additionally, I find a couple of the environments a little bit unpleasant to play through. The Love Cruise stage gave me such a terrible headache that I had to take a break every 30 minutes. I think it must have something to do with the graphical style of the environment, the way the characters and scenery blend into a pixelated blur until you get close enough. And I mean close too. The draw distance is tiny. I get that it's supposed to replicate the graphics of an N64 game, but that doesn't change the fact that it makes me want to yow after playing for 15 minutes. The other environment I don't particularly care for is the internet. Not the internet, the internet. Get it? I get the idea is supposed to be the replication of hard vapor aesthetics and the deep dark side of the internet, but the progression of a serene landscape full of silly characters and stupid jokes to a place that's unsettling at best and disturbing at worst just is non existent. The whiplash is real here. There are shock images and straight up jump scares in this area. It just doesn't really seem to belong.
Oh, so I'm a little tiny baby boy when it comes to jump scares. Don't tell anyone.
While these are definite issues with the game, in my opinion, none of them are exactly detrimental or ruin the whole experience. Take them with a grain of salt, too. These are just some subjective opinions by some 20-year-old weirdo on the internet. Maybe you found the bookmarker tool to be fine and you think that I'm a moron for not understanding how it works. Maybe you have no problem with motion sickness or screamers coming out of nowhere. Either way, there aren't any objective game breaking issues, just little things here and there that I didn't really enjoy. Overall, I'd say that Broken Reality is a fun little indie game that's worth your time and money. It's obvious that a lot of hard work and passion went into the production, and I think Dynamic Media Triad did a very good job capturing that vaporwave feel in video game form. If you enjoy non-violent indie exploration games and happen to be a fan of vaporwave music and aesthetics, I'm sure you will enjoy playing Broken Reality. You and the other 12 people who meet that criterion bothered watching this video. Nerds.